You're listening to FabulosiTEA, in which we discuss what you bring to the tea party, essentials for the modern heroine.
I'm Caroline from Sparkles and Crumbs.
And I'm Xandra from Fashionably Light.
Welcome to this week's episode 6, in which we discuss the art of a love letter. So we were trying to do a kind of themed episode for Valentine's Day, but we realised it's quite a broad topic and we digress too much anyway. We're always gossiping and getting sidetracked by like Karl Lagerfeld's cat and various things. So we thought we'd narrow it down a bit.
Yes, so Valentine's Day has a lot of stigma surrounding it for being too commercial, and frankly, it makes me a little bit uncomfortable. So we're trying to find a way to bring out the lovely, fabulous things about Valentine's Day through love letters.
Hooray!
Yay! Caroline, what is fabulous in your life today?
Oh gosh, well, I just came back from Paris.
That's pretty fabulous.
The City of Lights, it was so beautiful. But I found an amazing little chocolate shop called Toile d'Or. And I brought back a load of salted caramels, and I was going to save some for other people, but I ate them all on the plane because they were delicious. But I saved one for breakfast today. So that was my fabulous tea, like a little bit of Parisian magic.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Whilst getting up in like the suburbs of England to go to work. That's nice.
I used to have productivity truffles in my room. I would have a jar of truffles that were really nice, and I would pick them up from lovely little chocolate shops. And then at the end of the day, if I finished everything on my list, I would get to savor one of them.
Oh, truffles are just the best. Truffles make life so much better.
Yeah, actually, they're the perfect size. Because if you have a whole bar of chocolate, then you either eat it in one go, or you have to sort of take off little chunks of it, and then it dries out.
And no one wants that.
Right.
My work colleague and I used to literally every couple of days pool our money and go get like 4 packets of truffles from the local truffle shop.
You have an awesome truffle shop in Cambridge.
We have several.
Is this the one you're talking about? Several.
Yes, we used to go to either Hotel Chocolat or the little independent one, Chocolat, which is also
Chocolat. They always have like special truffles for different times of year. Like they had Halloween ones when I was there.
And they have like a beautiful Fortnum & Mason's turquoise shop front, and they do samples every day, and oh, so good.
I'm hungry now.
So what was your fabulosity, Xandra, before we get...
Well, I am in England.
Woo!
Yay! I'm here for a couple of weeks. And I haven't done that much so far. I've recovered from jet lag. But the plane ride here was really wonderful.
Oh, really? How was plane riding wonderful?
I really like Virgin Atlantic because that's like the best airline to take from Boston to England. And there isn't really like a cheaper option. So it feels very classy, and all of the... what are they called? The stewardesses?
Air hostesses.
Yes. They're also immaculately dressed. And I think Vivienne Westwood actually designed their new uniforms. And everyone's just really polite. And I watched this. They give you wine as well.
What?
And I watched...
What?
Yeah.
I hate flying EasyJet all the time.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Usually when I'm flying, it's this flight from England to America. And so I have to take this airline. But when I'm at home and I can fly domestic, when I'm in England and I fly EasyJet, then I'm like, well, where's my free stuff?
Oh, see, I get on EasyJet, and when I go to Edinburgh or whatever, I always buy a bottle of their Prosecco. Not like a whole bottle, like their little small bottle of Prosecco that they do. I'm just like, well, I'm in the sky. I just enjoy it.
Yes, you're making your own fabulous tea.
Yes. Exactly. I'm so glad you're in England. This means we are recording this for the first time in the same time zone. Woo! Woo!
Yay!
So, should we get on with the episode?
Let's get on with the episode.
Well, so our topic, I guess, love letters are usually kind of pigeonholed as quite old-fashioned and quite boring and almost quite cringy.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things we initially kind of spoke about while brainstorming this topic was mixtapes.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that songs or messages can be a love letter as well.
the modern love letter.
Oui, oui. Oh, see, I'm still trying to be Parisian. It'll never work, but I can try. Have you seen High Fidelity?
I haven't. Educate me.
So High Fidelity, it's like a late 90s, early 2000s movie with John Cusack. And he basically plays just a very lovelorn, hopeless romantic, trying to find a lasting relationship. But he runs a music store, a record store, and he's always making mixtapes. And he has a very famous quote that's saying, "To me, making a tape is like writing a letter. There's a lot of erasing and rethinking and starting again. A good compilation tape, like breaking up, is hard to do. You've got to kick off with a corker to hold the attention, and then you've got to up it a notch or cool it a notch. Oh, there are loads of rules." And I like this idea, even the idea of erasing something. The idea that some kind of expression of love should be something you take time over rather than just bopping off an email, backspacing a few lines and not thinking about it. The idea that you should really plan these things, even if it's something quite simple in execution.
Yeah, and the modern mixtape is a mix CD that you can burn on iTunes.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go through the process of actually erasing things if you change your mind.
Yeah, it's a lot easier, but the idea of thinking about it, planning it stays the same, I think.
I used to give friends mixtapes for their birthdays. And I would always, I was inspired by Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist.
I love that movie.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Michael Cera's character makes the most beautiful mixtape covers.
Mm-hmm.
So I was inspired by that. So whenever I make someone a mixtape, I always make an interesting cover as well.
I love that. But yeah, no, I received like a mix CD, I guess, as kind of a love letter, and it was all songs that were relevant to me and our relationship and things that made the guy think of me, and it was so lovely. And there were songs I knew and songs I didn't, and it's just really nice. I obviously burned it all into my iPod, but I've saved it all under like album.
Yeah.
Specific album, so I can play them all together again if I want. But so that's quite a nice way to say things that often I think people feel it's very cheesy to write a love letter because it's very hard to put the things they're feeling into words for someone they care about. But using someone else's words, someone who you respect and think is an artist, that's quite useful.
Right. It's like a love gesture.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I love gesture.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So we were looking at some famous love letters from films and books.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know I talked about Her last week, but this is just completely relevant.
Oh, tell me. I still haven't seen it.
Oh, well, you should. Well, the main character in Her, it's taking place some vague number of years in the future, and his job is to compose love letters for people. And so he's sitting at his office, and he's dictating these letters that appear on the screen in perfect handwriting font, and then it prints out in perfect handwriting font, and he has certain clients that he's been writing their love letters for years, and so he sort of picks up details about them and sort of becomes a part of their relationship through his prose, which I thought was kind of a creepy concept, but also it's nice that people think that it's important enough to pay a service for.
So it's nice, it's an idea that will still endure and carry on, that people still want to write these things for each other.
Right.
However they go about it.
However they go about it.
Oh, how interesting. So someone's paid to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's an intriguing job.
It is an intriguing job. Yeah. I guess it's the thought that counts.
Yeah. Well, I guess even... So, did you see Sex and the City, the movie?
A long time ago.
Upsettingly, I think it's a really good movie. Not the second one, but the first one's kind of entertaining and happy and cheering. And in it, Carrie gets into bed with Big and she's reading a book of love letters by famous men. Mm-hmm. And she quotes some of them. And essentially, what happened was, this wasn't a real book. This was a made-up book for the plot of the movie. And in it, she's like, why don't you write me love letters, Big? And he's like, sometimes my secretary sends you a love fax. Does that not count? But it turned out that people were asking about this book so much that they made it. They made it after the movie, and it's now a book you can actually buy. So there you go.
With like real love letters?
Oh yeah, by like Napoleon and kind of various fabulous.
Caroline, do you have a favorite love letter?
From a famous person?
Sure.
Well, not to me personally, but like I collect famous people's love letters. What I love Rob Bryan's This Is For You, the
Oh,
entire
yeah.
book, because that feels very much like a love letter. I think I'm going to write a post about that because I just love it so much. But Keats wrote really beautiful love letters.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favourites is, let me find it. I say this now, I can't find it. And he wrote to Fanny Brawn, I have been astonished that men could die martyrs for religion. I have shuddered at it. I shudder no more. I could be martyred for my religion. Love is my religion. I could die for that. I could die for you. My creed is love, and you are its only tenet. It's pretty powerful stuff.
It is quite expressive.
It's quite intense. I think most people on Valentine's Day want to send something a little bit less intense.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I guess speaking of intense, Love Actually, that's another movie that...
Yes. Alternative love letter.
Yes, when, what's his name? Guy who's in the zombie TV show.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, that Walking Dead guy.
Oh, okay. I didn't know he was a Walking
What's his
Dead guy.
name? I should probably find his name, shouldn't I?
That's okay. Everyone knows him as the sign guy in Love
The
Actually.
sign guy in Love Actually. Who even cares who he is? Sorry to the actor, but you'll always be this. And he's in love with his best friend's wife. And he writes her these beautiful series of notes. Well, everyone knows this. Everyone's seen it. But it's very sad.
Not everyone. I mean, I have.
Andrew Lincoln. That's who it is. Andrew
Lincoln
plays Mark. And
shout out to Andrew Lincoln.
Woo! You beautiful unrequited lover, you.
Our favorite listener.
Oh, imagine. Andrew Lincoln, if you're listening, we love you.
We didn't just forget your name.
Yeah, we follow you religiously. But he kind of shows up at her doorstep and shows these beautiful signs, and they're not love. It's essentially a love letter, and it's not asking for anything more, but it's just declaring your feelings.
Yeah. And it had humor in it as well.
Yeah, it was funny with the pictures of like the wasting away people and
the. Oh, fun fact about that scene. He was about to perform it, and they had the art department people write up the signs for him, and he looked at it and he was like, "Well, you didn't think I had good enough handwriting for this?" And they were like, "Well, he's like, I can write it myself." So the one that you see in the movie is actually his handwriting, because he was really proud of his own handwriting.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
Well, it's very clear, to be fair. That's quite funny.
Yeah, I thought it was very well penned.
A couple of people have watched that and said, like, oh, it's really selfish to declare your love to someone you know can't return it.
But he says, even within that love letter, if we're calling it that, well, doesn't he say, like, I'm happy with the way it is right now, I just needed to tell you?
Yeah, I suppose it's still selfish, though, because I suppose the scene before, she'd found the wedding videos where he just filmed her, so he looked a bit like a weirdo if he didn't do that. I don't know.
Right, and he was acting weirdly to her anyways, and she thought it was because he didn't like her, but it was the opposite. So it was like he owed her an explanation.
It must be so hard being Keira Knightley, just people falling in love with you left and right.
I know, her life is so hard.
But one of the other things on the subject of love letters that's quite interesting is I was talking to a friend the other day, and they were saying a mutual friend of theirs had gone on one date with a guy and received a really intense love letter.
Okay.
As a result, and they were like, it's just a bit much. It's just very, they didn't say, I love you, you're the love of my life in it, but it was just kind of they felt it was very soon after the first date.
Sure.
And there's a time and a place for a love letter. And also, as you say, for like the mood of a love letter. So I think, Valentine's Day is especially difficult if you just started dating someone or been dating someone for a while and working out where you stand in terms of whether you should do something, whether you should ignore it, whether you do something small.
I think it's like a style that you develop, whether it's a writing style or a dating style, that if this person only had one date, you only have one date's worth of material to work out the mutual style. So clearly he was on a different level.
He was on a completely different date to her.
Yeah, exactly.
Bless him.
So it's something that you sort of learn what works for both people over time.
He slipped the letter under her door, though.
Ooh.
I do. It's kind of creepy.
Like went to her house?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, maybe a couple of months down the road, that would have been romantic.
I love Xandra trying to be positive. Well, I think that's the point. It's that's why I think lots of guys, especially, are quite and girls as well, like are quite cautious about love letters because she's they're such an amazing gesture. And I mean, I got one with my boyfriend now about kind of I'd say a couple of months in. And it was great and it was really fun. It was kind of pictures of the things we'd done together before and all the things we were going to do the next year that we were looking forward to.
Aww.
And it was like, it was just the right tone of like,
right.
Oh, I've had such a great time. I'm looking forward to doing more fun things.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It's like, yeah, like a really good tone to strike for the start of a relationship. But
yeah.
it's but yeah, imagine getting like a Shakespearean sonnet.
Mm.
I mean, yeah. They were like, he was writing them just as love letters. Like they were just his casual kind of.
Right, I love Shakespeare sonnets.
Oh, who doesn't? Have you seen Shakespeare in Love?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. You sound so angry about it.
I am.
What? No, it's just Shakespeare in Love.
It's so historically vague.
But I love it so much. Don't you love Joseph Fiennes?
I can't get past the historically vague parts. I'm sorry.
Historically vague. What's historically vague?
Well,
see, you're an English major. I'm really ignorant. I just love the movie.
I mean, there's not a lot we know about Shakespeare's past, but something we probably do know that isn't very well known is that they didn't rehearse Shakespeare's plays, and they wouldn't have gone through that process like they do for most of the movies, through most of the movie, where he's sort of writing the play as they're rehearsing it over several months.
You're just ruining that movie for me.
I'm sorry.
You're like, well, it's the truth, Kaz. It's hard. I'm sorry, Xandra. I do still love Shakespeare in Love. I know it's completely historically inaccurate, but
that's
so
okay.
magical.
I do love Gwyneth Paltrow.
I love Joseph Fiennes in it. He's so fabulous.
Yeah.
but it's so inaccurate.
But he's not Shakespeare, okay? Get the real Shakespeare in a film and I will be impressed.
What are you talking about?
Anyway. Well, okay. So we were talking about how
Anyway.
We were talking about we were talking about how love letters have this stigma surrounding them, sort of like Valentine's Day itself. So you quoted quite an intense love letter, and we're talking about Shakespeare sonnets, which have a very specific structure. So I think there's this pressure to write something very flowery and almost vague, really, as vague as Shakespeare in Love.
As vague as Shakespeare in Love. Getting that in there.
Yeah. Well, I'm like making it all relevant.
Yeah, I like it. Well, but yeah, as we were saying, it can be something as simple as, here are the fun things I'd like to do with you this year.
Yeah, like you were saying.
Or as we said, we're talking about mixtapes. Here are some songs that made me think of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it can be. I think, a lot of people, as we were talking about, are intimidated by huge dramatic gestures straight away and big sentiments that possibly don't mirror the experience the other person's having.
My boyfriend draws me pictures of my stuffed animals.
That's really cute. See, that's like a great idea. Like, I think lots of people are concerned, rightly so, that they're going to scare people away by putting down how they feel in writing too early or too much too soon. So kind of things like a mixtape or something cute, like a cute illustration that you can give someone, kind of gives an idea that you care about someone without being too intense, like Keats dying for you.
Well, sure, if you're in the kind of relationship where you want to hear about dying for each other, then go for it. But just because that's what is apparently conventional doesn't mean that it's for everyone. Because the thing about love that's great is that it's unconventional to the people that are in it. So love letters should be similarly unconventional.
Yeah. And I think, well, another thing that is great is also the delivery of love letters / mixtapes / however you want to do something. I quite like them in surprises. I think it's quite nice to drop it in someone's
Yeah.
letterbox, or
Oh, that is nice.
like I used to find them in my pigeonhole in college. That was nice. I'd be like,
Aw. Oh, it's always nice
yeah,
when you know.
surprises.
Yeah.
love surprises, which is even better. But also the old ideas of kind of sealing wax or sealing things with a kiss. I love that idea.
I have this dream of having my own personalized sealing wax.
Oh, you should so get one. What would be like your crest?
Well, it would have to have something with a star on it, I think.
Oh yeah.
I always seal letters with a star sticker.
That is very fashionably light.
Or bunny stickers.
Oh, well, there you go. There's your crest.
Bunnies and stars.
Bunnies and just a load of stars, and then like your face in the middle. Sounds good.
This is getting less fashionably light. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, sorry. I think mine
Yes.
would be like cakes and champagne.
Ooh, so I was just walking by a bookshop on High Street in Oxford that has blind dates with books. So they wrap up covers of Oxford World Classics and they put a little phrase on it on the outside. So one of them was like cake and sparkles or something. And after you buy the book, you open it up and see what it is.
Oh my gosh, blind dates with books. That's just.
Yes.
Can we go there?
Yes, we're going. In fact, when Caroline comes to visit me
Yes.
in Oxford, that will be on our agenda.
Woo! That is next week's episode.
Yay! Yeah, so next week we're not actually doing an episode.
Well-
We're doing a video instead, though.
We're going to be finally reunited, and we're going to do all the FabulosiTEA things we can't do kind of from different continents. So we're going
Yay!
to have a tea party and shop for books and kind of flounce around in dresses.
Awesome.
Woo.
Yes, I packed my dresses.
Oh, I got my feather one ready to go.
Yay!
But I love that idea of giving someone a book as like a love letter almost.
Yeah, and people usually like write a little note inside books. That's always very special.
Like I've given Rob Ryan's "This Is For You" as a love letter to anyone who loves someone a lot but doesn't know how to say it. Rob Ryan's "This Is For You" is perfect for that. Oh, can you tell I love Rob Ryan's "This Is For You"? This episode, like I should get him to like give me a cut. Like,
Yeah.
publicize him so much, but oh, it's just wonderful. Everyone should read that book.
Okay, I'll read it.
Sandra, like, leave me alone. Buy it for me for Valentine's Day and I'll read it.
Yes.
Gosh, but yeah, no, so we will be in Oxford next week, and
Mhm.
next week's FabulosiTEA will be a slightly different edition. It will be a video.
It will be.
But in the meantime, as it comes to any other business, we'd love to hear about your ideas about love letters. What's your favourite famous love letter or love verse to send someone? Have you ever sent or received a love letter?
Or if you have any tips for their composition.
Or delivery?
Or delivery. Ooh, by owl.
Oh my gosh. Imagine if someone actually arranged that who wasn't, a fictional character. That would be amazing.
Ooh. Yeah. The challenge is out there, readers.
Yeah, oh gosh, no. Oh, quickly. My boss, she just has an amazing life, basically, and her husband's very much in love with her. And every year, apparently, he arranges a new way to get her birthday card to her.
Oh, that is so relevant.
Yeah, I just
So
wanted
what are
to-
some of the ways?
Well, this year, apparently, she woke up and there was a balloon floating towards the bed with her card tied to it.
Okay, that's really good.
So he finds like a different way to do it every year. That's creativity when it comes to love, guys. they're like 65. They've been together about 40 years, and he does this every year.
It's nice to have a tradition that evolves. Like it's one tradition to like get the
Yes.
same chocolate every year or something, but another to know that you'll have a surprise this time next year.
Yeah, we're all waiting for the year when he just gives up and like gets a homing pigeon or something, and just runs out of other ideas.
Or a pigeon?
I feel like I need to do it now.
So then after our video week, we're doing an episode on one's fabulous alter ego.
So like Beyonce's Sasha Fierce. So do tell us what your alter ego kind of name and personality is.
Yeah.
We can include them as inspiration.
Invite them to our next episode.
To the next FabulosiTEA party.
Yes.
So you can always reach us at FabulosiTEA.com to get our most recent show notes with links to Rob Ryan. And you can leave us some comments with your feedback. We would also love it if you could subscribe to us on iTunes. If you go to FabulosiTEA.com/iTunes, that'll take you straight to our page. And it would be lovely to get a little review and perhaps a nice rating if you think we deserve it.
That would be lovely.
Mm-hmm. Helping more people to find the Fabulosity part.
I know, everyone can join.
Mm-hmm.
But until next week, then.
Until next week.
Thanks for joining us.
Ciao.
Ciao, au revoir.